Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Final Fantasy 16. I'm your host, Starnum Lander, and it's time to continue.
Doesn't sound like anywhere is safe. Not that I'm planning a journey.
Alright, let's see. Where we left off, that's right, we were going to speak to Desiree here at the
Clive.
Patron's Whisper.
Welcome to the Patron's Whisper.
The Patron's Whisper? Does that mean someone else is taking care of our friend's donations?
Oh no, that's still me. It's just Karen has her toll, Blackthorn has his hammer. I thought a new name might liven things up. I still catalogue every item that arrives, in addition to setting aside those tokens of appreciation the sender has specified are to be presented to you personally. Would you like to see if we have any? Business is busy.
On top of me regular duties here at the Whisper, Otto has piled countless other tasks, from transcribing and sorting Stolas reports to penning needful missives. Not that I'm complaining, mind. I enjoy writing. I have ever since I learned my letters from Jara back in the old hideaway. I won't claim to have been his best student, though. That honor goes to Shirley. Still, I like to think that Jara would be proud of me, too, were he with us today. The last 5 years, how's the last 5 years been?
Words are immortal.
They live on in others, and if the words are your own, so too will you. Do you know who told me that? It was Jara, in our last lesson before Titan came. It stayed with me ever since his passing and inspired me to become what I am today. I imagine we survivors all have a story like that, of someone who remains with us even though they're gone.
Your
And then-
benefactors are a generous lot.
Yeah, so the Patron's Whisper. Completing side quests will earn Clive renown, inspiring nameless benefactors from across the Twins to donate money or items to Clive's cause. Visit Desiree at the Patron's Whisper in the Hideaway's Mess to view renown level and accept any donations available. It's basically just like rewards that you get
You earned this.
for completing different quests
All
and
yours.
whatnot. First one says, Talk of the Tea House. Your merry band of outlaws and its dashing deeds of daring do are all the talk amongst the ladies of the court. We have gathered together several items of worth that you might continue your gallantry. It's like just some crafting materials, and also you'll see the ability points, 400 there. That's pretty cool. Respect our orders is one built on pride, but that does not mean we are too proud to give thanks where thanks is due. We may have failed Martha once, but never again. As the blood axes, they gave us a meteorite.
All done?
So Martha's all right.
Yep. Others weren't so lucky, though.
And how may I assist you today? How may I help you today?
Let's view the state of the
Of
realm.
course.
March of the Black Shields. Following Empress Annabella's orders, the Black Shields of Rosaria expand their persecution of bears in the Imperial Province. The first mass culling of bears and those deemed overly sympathetic to their plight turns the streets of Rosalith red before spreading to every corner of the old duchy. And the situation map. Following Clive to Port Isolde, Clive and his outlaw allies plot to take advantage of the distraction provided by the war unfolding in the east by turning their own attentions west for Drustanus and Drake's Breath. But first, they will need to secure a ship from Clive's Uncle Byron in Port Isolde. Alright, so that's where we're at on that.
Very good.
Now let's go take a look with the Moogle here at the hunt board. Clive, there you are, Kupo. Been looking all over for you.
What's the matter, Nectar?
The matter is this, Kupo.
The hunt board? It's where the Cursebreakers post sightings of particularly fearsome beasts. Those that might pose a threat to our operations if they were left to roam free. Just because they can't be dealt with when they're spotted, doesn't mean they can't be dealt with later. Was that what you wanted to know?
Of course not, Kupo. I knew all that already. And that's why I need your help, as I need not remind you, Kupo, I am the mightiest of all the Moogles. No fiend of the forest or ghoul of the Greensward kid something or other. Goes really fast. I need you to slay them all, Kupo.
Right. Well, leaving your mightiness aside for the moment.
Yeah.
The people of Valisthea are going through a lot already. What with the Blight and the war. The last thing they need is ungodly fiends terrorizing them on top of everything else. So if the Cursebreakers are too busy to help, then perhaps I can. Or at least I can try.
Oh, thank you, Kupo. It's so good to have someone who understands. I'll stay here then and keep an eye out on all the billets to get posted on the board. So if there's anything good, I'll let you know, or something like that. Kupo. Ask about Nectar's adventures. Did I ever tell you about the time I visited the Great Continent, Kupo?
I don't think so.
Of course I didn't, because I've never been, Kupo. Gotcha. Look at these wings. Do they look like the sort that might carry a Moogle across countless leagues of open sea? They call me Nectar the Bold, not Nectar the Stupid, Kupo. Okay. What about the hunt board here? It's precisely what you see before you, Kupo. The Cursebreakers note down the details of any particularly dangerous monsters they hear about or encounter in the course of their duties, Kupo. And post the billets here, Kupo, so that any stout soul who wishes to do the realm a service might set out to slaughter an ungodly horror or two, which is where you come in, Kupo. As for me, I have the most important duty of all, painting a big red cross over each and every one that you cut down, Kupo, so that everyone can sleep at night knowing that the realm is a safer place. Yeah, all right. Yeah, man. Good job. Keep it up. And the hunts? The Cursebreakers don't just tack up any old rumors to this board, you know. They take great plans to verify every little detail, Kupo. So don't you go letting all their hard work go to waste now, Kupo. Don't you let me, them, down. Something else to say about the hunts? Did you see that all the billets are marked with a location, Kupo? That's where the horrible horror in question was seen. But you can't be expected to memorize every last place name in the whole wide realm. You're only human, Kupo. So if the name and the place doesn't tingle your pom-pom, Kupo, try reading the witnesses' statements. Sometimes there are other details in them that might help you track the nasties down and finish them off. Anything else about the hunts, Nectar? Oh, of course. Yeah, I'll try to wrap it up. Did you see that the Cursebreakers give every billet a rank of riskiness, Kupo? From this thing could kill you with a single swipe to a 7-nation army couldn't scratch this thing's skin. But I'm sure you'll be fine, Kupo. Well, not sure, but that's one risk I'm willing to take. I appreciate it. And now we'll look at the hunt board.
That broom's as ragged as goat's luck.
I hear there's trouble with
Think it's alright to touch him?
a bird by any other name. Forgive my insistence on writing you these silly letters. Would that we had more time to speak to each other in person, but for every day that we spend together it feels as though we must suffer another two apart. I am gladdened to hear of your most unexpected reunion with Ambrosia, or should I say Whiteheart. You told me once how your chocobo sacrificed herself to protect you that night at Phoenix Gate, and here, so many years later, we find she has spent her life doing the exact same thing, defending others. Some things never change, do they, Clive?
Won't be long now, Martel. No trouble. Sid, I was hoping to speak to you.
Is everything all right?
Oh, yeah, it's just, well, as you know, we've been trying to grow fruit down here.
It's good to know that something of the old hideaway still lives on.
Martel's pride and joy. It was a sapling when she rescued it from the rubble, but look at it now. All our hard work's finally paying off. I took it on, you see, after she died, and now the fruit's finally ready to eat. And not only is it ready, it's actually tasty. Sweet as you like, in fact. She bred the bitter right out of it.
Impressive. And welcome news to more than a few, I'd say.
I thought this first harvest could go to the curse breakers, on account of all they do for the hideaway. You couldn't take them some, could you? Seems better them coming from you.
It'll be nice being the bearer of good news for a change.
Oh, thank you. She always had a soft spot for that lot, see? And once they've had their share, I'll see to it that everyone else gets some. Here you go. Martel apples, they're called, in honor of her memory. You hear that, Martel? Today's finally the day.
It's not the ether.
Did you come through the forge today? It smells like a still. It would explain blacksmith. That broom's as ragged as goats.
You two look like you could use something to eat. Here. Courtesy of Martel.
Martel. Now, where have I heard that name before?
Weren't she the girl from the Furrows?
Course she was. An odd sort, that one. Loved plants more than people.
Aye, and brave as a bane might. Remember when she ran back into the hideaway to collect them trees when Titan attacked? Wait,
These aren't those apples, are they? Well, I'll be. She'd have been proud, and rightly so. Thank you, Sid.
Others weren't so lucky, though.
A gift from the backyard. For your service.
Blimey, these take me back. I haven't seen a hideaway apple since. Old Sid was the only one who could stomach the things. He'd nab 'em right from the branch, make Martel livid. Not that anyone could stay mad at the man for long.
That sounds like the Sid I knew, all right.
Planning on keeping that lot to yourselves, were you? Hang on. These aren't Martels, are they? I'm glad to see someone carried on what she started. Can't have been easy, not in the Deadlands. Reckon she'd be happy knowing all her hard work didn't go to waste. Clive, tell the lad down in the backyard to run some over for me, will you?
Not so much as a thank you. Well, I've got some manners at least. Thanks, Sid. You can leave the basket with me. I'll see that the others get their share. Oh, and give our compliments to the gardener, won't you?
That was the last of the apples. I should head to the backyard and pass along everyone's regards.
Asta the hopeless romantic.
There was a time I only had eyes for Otto. But then I saw the light, and his name is Cole. That way he looks at you like a frightened fawn who's lost his mother. Oh, if only I could shoot an arrow through his heart.
She's an interesting one. We'll try to keep up with her throughout the game.
And you say Sid built this place? Did you come through the forge today? It smells like a still.
The Cursebreakers sent their thanks. And their compliments. They were clearly very fond of Martel.
They remembered her. After all these years. I suppose she was very kind, even to a tongue-tied lummox like me. You were one of the good ones, Martel. Why did you have to die? She put everything into her work. She wasn't going to rest until we had fruit sweet enough to enjoy. And now we do. When she died, I named a sapling after her. And now it's a full-grown tree. Martel lives on through the fruit it bears.
And through you. Her dream would have died with her, had you not kept it alive. That's something to be proud of.
I didn't do anything really, but thank you. You're kinder to me than I deserve.
By the way, Otto's expecting some of your crop. And I wouldn't mind some of it either, if that's not too much to ask.
Of course not. I'll see that you're both well provided for. They like your fruit, Martel. Isn't that wonderful? I'd say it's about time we planted you some siblings, don't you think?
Martel apples. A basket of slightly stunted, somewhat sweet apples, grown from the blighted earth thanks to the dedication of perseverance of one woman, Martell. May she rest in peace. Still, we'll grow something worth eating one of these days, and when we do, you'll have the first pick, Martell, displayed in Clive's chambers.
Do you think it was wise to leave, Gav? He didn't seem pleased.
I needed his eyes and nose in Dhalmekia. I'm not about to let Kupka take us unawares. Besides, he has a knack for that sort of thing.
That he does.
And wasn't it Sid who said that matters such as these are best left to dominance? Especially should one of his beloved opportunities to grow and change present itself.
I always knew that I would return one day. Return to Ironhome.
For what?
After learning the truth, you were given the chance to face your past. If I am to continue at your side, I must do the same.
We will face it together then.
To the end.
Come on.
With Torgal there too. Bloodlines.
How far do you think your mother's reach extends? Will we find the same tragedy in the south as we did at Martha's Rest?
More than likely. Which is why we should hurry. There are still many settlements between here and Port Isolde. We visit as many as we can and hear their stories. Starting with the village of Amber. Come on. All right.
The color of that chocobo is pretty cool. Bluebird. Is that not a chocobo? Yeah, probably a type of chocobo. It's pretty cool looking though.
You deserve a rest.
Mockery of justice is what it is. Lord Elwyn would never have stood for this.
Quiet, you! I think we're loyalists.
Jill, look.
Rosaria must be cleansed of the stain which befouls her, that she might rise once again from the ashes to welcome a new dawn. 'Twould be a pity to make examples of you all, for the transgressions of but a handful.
Of course, your lordship. You shall have our full cooperation.
What business could the Black Shields have in a village this small? There's barely room to hide a bearer.
Then they must be here for something else.
You fancy dancing a gallows jig like the miller's son?
You're a long way from home, aren't you? You won't be disappointed. Much obliged. Fare you well.
Excuse me, but what was all that about earlier?
You haven't heard? Someone's been stirring up trouble. There have been attacks on the garrison, supplies stolen. They even say a Black Shield was murdered. The Empire wants answers, and what the Empire wants, the Empire gets.
Don't they just?
Keep your ears open, eh? The Black Shields will pay good coin for information on the culprits. You'd have to be dull as a sack of stones to think you could take on the Empire. What with their 100 full legions?
100? I heard it were 1,000.
We're going hunting for outlaws. How'd you like that, boy?
There was a time my husband might have stood up to those men. Though back then, he wouldn't have needed to.
Word is, Port Isolde's closed her gates to all but the Highborn, and now a great camp sprung up along the walls.
You seen him, didn't you?
I'm sorry.
The Black Shields. Just now. You seen them, didn't you? At least I think there was a Black Shields. Can't say I ever saw one before.
Was this the first time they visited the village?
What do you think? Amber's the arse end of nowhere. And they thought we might be harbouring firebrands. Huh. If only we were. I might have turned them in and become a Black Shield myself.
You don't think these firebrands the Empire is looking for could be us, do you?
I don't know. But we need to find out. Greetings, friend. We are travelers.
I know that. What do you want?
We couldn't help noticing those Imperial soldiers who were here earlier.
Don't you go telling these strangers a thing. I speak for the people of this village, and we have nothing more to say to you. You are to leave Amber and never come back.
May I at least ask why?
I don't know who you are or what brings you here, but your presence puts us all in grave danger. The Empire is a harsh master. Its demands are great, and its justice swift. But as long as we keep our heads down and pay our tributes, we are left alone. Some might call it submission. But if it will spare my people the Viceroy's wrath, then I will gladly submit. This village will not become another Eastpool.
Then we shall be on our way. These people live with a knife to their throats. In the mistaken belief that if they cooperate, my mother will show them mercy.
Obedience bought with fear.
Are you all right?
Sorry, It's nothing. We still don't know who the Black Shields are looking for.
Well, whoever they are, the Imperials deem them worth pursuing to the back of beyond. But other than Martha, Who else in Rosari would have the courage to stand against the Empire? A new ally would certainly be welcome. Can we find them before the Imperials do? Perhaps the next village will yield more answers.
Perhaps.
This pass will take us through the mountains.
And directly into the path of whoever or whatever lurks here.
Ever since the apothecary, we've seen more and more of these echoes.
What do you think is waking them? The mother crystal's collapse?
I have an idea. You're not going to like it.
It's over.
More of my mother's men.
Stay down! Die!
This one.
That's better.
Over here! Farewell!
Blood, Clive.
And still wet.
You were told to stay in your homes.
The Black Shields.
You know who we are. And still, you would bear your steel. Why then, we owe you our thanks. You have saved us the trouble of an interrogation. To dwell in darkness, that we may purge the night and welcome lasting dawn. On these, our swords we swear.
Say that again. I'll show you a true shield of Rosaria.
Give me thunder!
This one.
Stay down! Farewell.
Tell me what I want and the end will be swift. Who are you looking for?
Why, you. We come bearing a message. Your friends have been found. The branded you freed from our camps. They await you in Ordeal. Guardians of the Flame.
Those are Old Hill's gates.
Then we hurry. Find something, boy. Death.
Found her.
This was my mother's doing.
But why? Why would anyone...
I don't know. I never truly understood her. But this...
Oh, Clive.
I will learn what madness drives her, and I will end it. We should go.
Yes.
We can't leave them here like this.
We won't. But if the Black Shields have made it this far south, they may already be in Port Isolde.
We're approaching Buick Bridge. Though I doubt the Empire would let us cross over to Rosalith. Good girl.
Fly, Ambrosia.
No need to ride from here.
I did, Mummy. I could hear him shouting from down the road.
Hush, no. They tell us there's a curfew, but then refuse us passage back.
They're all Rosarian.
But this is their home.
Come on.
The
The
Lazarus.
Silken Strand.
What happened to this place?
My mother happened. The nobles who lived here didn't stand a chance. Let's hope my uncle fared better. That's the main gate. And it looks like we're not the only ones hoping to get in.
Let us pass! My children are starving!
Have mercy.
Voice friends dogs they are! You can't ignore us forever!
Let us in, or we'll die on your doorstep!
Better out there than in here!
More than enough
Fuck off! Hang the chinless bastards! Those crystals belong to us all! I said, away with you, filth! Back to your sties! Cut you down where you stand! Destroy it!
No chance of slipping through unnoticed. We'll need to find another way in. I thought we might be able to reason with the guards. Or at least bribe them.
I suspect everyone in that crowd thought the same. Was that the only way in?
Officially, yes. Strictly speaking, no. My uncle once told me that the nobles had tunnels built, so that they could visit town without having to walk amongst the rabble. The Lazarus. We'll find our way into the city there.
If you're sure. The entire place looked abandoned. Do you think it's safe?
As long as it is abandoned.
Black light burns.
The good news is we haven't seen a single black shield since Old Hill.
Maybe they found who they were looking for. This is nothing like I remember it.
How quickly a crown can lose its luster.
Not abandoned then.
Oi! Visitors!
Apologies. We'll show ourselves out. Or not.
I've only ever seen one man fight like that. And he's long dead.
Then perhaps it's time you joined him.
The blessing of the Phoenix. It can't be. I was there when you died. Huh? Forgive me, my lord. I knew not whom I addressed. You have naught to fear from us. Founder, it really is you.
It is. So wait.
We can speak inside.
Well, that's cool. Sir Wade's still alive. Right on.
And those who wouldn't bend the knee?
We left before the Empire could make examples of us, though we didn't go far. And we banded together to form the Guardians of the Flame soon after. Alas, there is only so much a handful of aging shields can do against the might of an empire. But we've seen to it that their stay has been anything but pleasant. Of late, though, we've had our hands full just trying to keep the Duchy's few remaining bearers out of the Imperial's clutches.
The Cullings. We saw what happened in Old Hill.
Aye. The foul work of the Black Shields and their mistress.
You mean my mother? But it doesn't make sense. Even knowing what I know about her. Her hatred for bearers was no secret, but she wouldn't have been ignorant of their value to the realm.
No offense, my lord,
But in case you haven't noticed, the Lady Annabella couldn't care less about the realm. She barely even cares for her own home. That much has been plain since the slaughter at Eastpool. And, since granting the Holy Emperor a new heir, her obsession with bearers only seems to have grown. As to why, I don't know. Maybe she can't bear the thought of anyone having the power to challenge her beloved son.
Her son.
Sir Wade, the Black Shields have broken camp. They march in full force for Buick Bridge.
Then so do we. Make ready. This is their main host. If we remove the head, perhaps we can prevent what happened at the docks from happening somewhere else. If I do nothing, then the blood of their next victims will be on my hands.
Yours and ours. We too have witnessed the crimes these men who dare call themselves shields have committed in my mother's name. It cannot be allowed to continue. We must put a stop to this madness.
We must. So let us go with you. For the good of Rosaria.
I was hoping you'd say that. Very well. If that is your wish, I would be honored to serve at your side.
And we at yours.
So, Wade, let us do our duty.
With pleasure, my lord.
I imagine this endeavor will require more than just our wits.
Then let's hope Sir Wade has a good quartermaster.
I suppose we owe you our thanks. You spared us when you could have just as easily sent us to the mud.
You're telling me that's the Archduke's son?
In the flesh. Saw him once when I was your age. He had that same look in his eyes.
You are welcome to what little we have managed to salvage. As you wish, my lord. May the blessing of the crystals go with you.
Tell us then, Sir Wade. What is your plan?
Nothing fancy. You, Lady Jill and I make for Buick Bridge, and provoke the main host at their encampment. Sensing an opportunity to end the Guardians, the Black Shields will call for reinforcements, who will be met from the rear by parties of my brothers hidden throughout the surrounding hills. This will allow us to wage battle on the bridge without fear of being overwhelmed. While the Black Shields have an advantage in numbers, you see, they prefer to fight in small units, which we can use to our advantage.
How small exactly?
Small enough, now that I have you and Lady Jill for company. I doubt I could have done this on my own.
But until we arrived, that was your plan. You haven't changed a bit.
Sir Wade, the bearers from Old Hill have been laid to rest.
Very good. Now make ready for battle.
As you command.
Thank you, Sir Wade. Perhaps now they will find peace.
There is but one thing which will grant them peace. Putting an end to the Black Shields.
And so we shall.
Party members. Throughout the main scenario, Clive will often be joined by various companions who are keen to lend their assistance. However, depending on Clive's destination, they may choose to remain behind at the hideaway.
We'll keep them from the bridge. Don't you worry.
May the blessing of the Phoenix go with you.
Brother Wade's life depends upon it.
How long have you been pursuing the Black Shields?
Since they burned their first village. We tracked down the bastards responsible and fed their corpses to Stillwind. Suffice to say, that got their attention. It's been a game of cat and mouse ever since.
Look at me sideways.
Come along now.
The bastards are lucky I did.
There they are. On your command, my lord.
Let's get him.
What is it now? I told you!
We bear a message for the Vicereine. From the Guardians of the Flame.
Ha! You presume to tell us that a pair of filthy vagabonds, a woman and a dog, could guard aught against the might of the Black Shields? Then come! Die along with your flame! For Rosaria!
For Rosaria!
Your petty revolution ends here. On these our swords we swear.
Bloody hell! Reinforcements from the far bank!
Another wyvern to fight their battles for them.
More dragons.
Worms. The Imperials aren't taking any chances. I can't say I'm flattered.
A noble stand, albeit a misguided one. In taking it, you have but proven our point. That this land is in dire need of cleansing.
need to finish this. You mean finish him? Nice try.
Enemy slain. Imperial Link. Many have tendered explanations as to how Imperial Dragoons are able to leap to such absurd heights, from the power of prayer to a strict diet of hare, toad, and crickets. But none save the knights themselves know the truth. Whatever the secret, it is plain that heavy plate would only prove a hindrance, and so the Empire equips its dragoons with armor forged from lighter than linen mithril. This link is part of a vest that would have been worn between the breastplate, used in crafting, and a dragon talon. Upon close inspection of a lesser dragon's foot, one may observe the middle talon is considerably longer than the rest. This extended appendage is used to puncture the flesh parts of the creature's prey, causing severe blood loss and weakening them for the kill.
I don't see any more.
Nor do I. The plan worked.
It did. It bloody worked. We sent every last one of the rotten bastards straight to the mud! Lord, perhaps this will be enough to stop the Cullings. For the time being, at least.
Perhaps. Though I doubt my mother will take this loss well. She'll move swiftly to see her minions' ranks replenished.
And then it will all begin again. I often wonder if the nation we once knew is gone for good. Her fields rot. Her people starve. We battled to preserve the flame that was, but for every foe we fell, another springs up in its place. Yet be that as it may, it is still our home, and we must fight for it. As we always have, and always will. For as long as the Firebird's flame burns in our hearts, the Duchy cannot die. And her loyal subjects may dream of a day when the Rosarian standard flies over Rosalith once more.
So wait,
Think we should fall back to Port Isolde before the garrison sends reinforcements? A sound strategy, my lord.
Level up.
And how long has my uncle been funding you and your comrades' endeavors?
Since the beginning. Lord Byron was the first person I turned to after forming the Guardians. And had I known of this tunnel back then, I wouldn't almost have been hanged by the city guard for trying to sneak over the wall.
I suppose a formal request for an audience would have appeared suspicious.
And appearances must be maintained. Were the Vice-Regency to catch wind of Lord Byron's involvement in our movement, they'd seize his estate and send him to the gallows, where he would be of no use to anyone. And so, though it sickens him to the soul, he plays the part of the loyal lord, knowing that one wrong move might prove his downfall. It is why he remains ever vigilant. Don't be surprised if he refuses you an audience, especially since you're famously dead.
Then I will have to think of a way to prove that I am neither wraith nor wrongdoer.
I might have something which could help with the latter. It's the Mark of the Guardians. Display it, and those who love Rosaria will know where your loyalties lie.
I shall wear it with pride.
Be sure that you do. I don't want my men attacking you again. Unless you deserve it. If only Sir Tyler could have been here to see you. Or the Lord Commander.
Thank you, Sir Wade. If there is ever anything you need.
I know. Go on now, my lord.
How accommodating. Do you really think they believe we are who we say we are?
Not a chance. Right, I guess. My uncle believes we're imposters here to rob him. And means to string us up himself.
Imagine my surprise when I was told my nephew had come to visit. Clive Rosfield died long ago. And for uttering his name here, you shall pay with your tongue! You would mock me as well?
It is I, Sir Crandall of Camelot, loyal servant to Her Serene Holiness, Saint Sybil the Unshod. Meadow, thou vile sorcerer, for thy crimes against church and crown, I shall have thy head.
Curse thee, infectious flax wench. Even in death, must thou plague me still? Very well. I shall open the gates of hell, that thou might see thy charge once more.
Bravo, Uncle. You're still the finest Maddo in the twins.
Oh, Clive, my dear boy, it's really you.
Oh, Uncle Byron.
You always were fond of that scene from The Saint in the Sanctuary. Never did let me play Sir Crandall.
I have a favor to ask, Uncle Byron.
Rutherford! Inform the kitchens! There'll be guests! We dine immediately!
But, Uncle...
You can't very well regale me with the tale of your miraculous preservation on an empty stomach. Go on, sit. See that you use the good plates, Rutherford. So you arrived late to one of her cullings, did you? Since becoming Vicereine, Annabella has been a constant thorn in Rosaria's side, but these atrocities are a new low. Something has changed. Quite what, I don't know, but the woman we knew is gone, and a monster sits in her place.
A monster?
For better or worse, I've been charged with governing this town, and thus must maintain the illusion of obedience. That's all I can do to aid Wade and his merry band of revolutionaries.
So he's told us. You have risked much for Rosaria. Our nation will be forever in your debt.
It has been 20 years, Clive. The nation your father and your forefathers fought to defend is no more. Perhaps it would be otherwise had I the courage of my brother. All right, if it's a ship you require, a ship you shall have. I've a galley in port, but recently relieved of her cargo. She can be outfitted for the voyage in a matter of weeks.
So you believe us, then? About everything?
Believe you? Ha! Only a fool would believe even half of the things you claim. But until tonight, only a fool would have believed my nephew still lived. And besides, I have it on good authority that Clive is telling the truth.
Whose authority?
On your own, of course. You've always been a terrible liar.
Is that true?
It's not untrue.
Let's say no more about it, eh? It wouldn't do to linger on my nephew's greatest failing. The one thing I cannot believe, though, is all this about you being Sid. You were always such a good boy, but now you're quite the outlaw. Which, if I'm not mistaken, would make me an outlaw's uncle. Right then, who shall we pillage first? Rutherford, fetch me my cutlass. This will be fun.
Over there. Go on.
She's a fine ship, isn't she?
Once outfitted, she'll bear us across the boiling sea to Drustinus in the space of 3 days.
Something on your mind?
Monsters. When I served the Iron Kingdom, I did so because I saw no other choice. Because once they learned that the lash would not move me, they turned it on those who could. And so I became their puppet. I let them pull my strings, telling myself it was not my hand that swung the sword, but another's. I removed myself from the truth so I wouldn't feel the pain it caused. And before I knew it, I no longer felt anything. Anything at all. I had become a monster.
Jill.
I don't want to be a monster, Clive. Do you understand? I want to choose a different path, a better path. To live on my own terms. But before I can do that, I need to come to terms with my past.
And when you do, I'll be standing there with you, just as you stood with me.
Thank you, Clive.
It's very sweet.
I must atone for my sins. Only then, when it's done, will the monster cease to be.
Yeah, I really like these two as a couple.
Promise me that you won't die with it.
I shipped him, as they say.
Now, let's get some sleep. The journey back to Benamir is long, and there is much to tell the others.
Here be
Only
monsters.
the Founder knows what awaits us in the Iron Kingdom. But Vivian could probably make an educated guess.
That monster's taken quite a liking to Lady Karen.
He's not a monster. He's Torgal. And he'd take a liking to you too if you gave him as many nuts as Nan does.
Well, don't just stand there gawping. It'd better all be here. You're rubbing me blind, you know. Is that all?
I didn't take you for a scholar, Ivan.
Oh, this? Well, it's Valisthea, a culinary pilgrimage. I borrowed it from old tomes. Seems there's no creature in the realm so foul it can't be cooked up into something delicious.
Think I'll stick to the unfoul ones, thanks.
Oh, where's your sense of adventure, Sid? Honestly, one glance at these recipes, and even you would trade in your sword for a butcher's cleaver. From spit roasts to sweetmeats, this book has them all. What I wouldn't give to bring these recipes to life.
If it's my blessing you're hoping for, then by all means.
Well, I'm no hunter, Sid. The first tunnel worm I came across would be the death of me. But you're made of sterner stuff. Would you help me resurrect one of these recipes?
Something tells me you won't be taking no for an answer. Fine, I'll help.
Fantastic! Thank you.
So, dare I ask what's on the menu?
Chance's Stew. It was once a favourite among the gourmands of Oriflamme, if the author is to be believed. Though Molly's never heard of it. The only problem is that while the recipe is extremely detailed in most respects, It's infuriatingly cryptic as to the main ingredient. A beast, no doubt. Most likely something that would make easy work of a simple cook with more broth than brawn, but unwanted violets. I've no idea what they might be.
Does the book say anything else?
Well, only that the sweetest violets sprout atop the bed of roses.
Roses. Rosaria, perhaps? One of the butchers in Martha's Rest might know something. I'll ask next time I'm there.
Maeve over there's the best thing to happen to Hideaway since, well, ever. she's got a smile like sunshine, and she can pull an ale like no other.
Typical nobles.
How did we never hear about these Guardians of the
There
Flame?
are new billets being
Same way
posted
they never
every
heard about
day,
us, I expect.
but not enough swords to see to them.
Clive! Oh, am I glad to see you?
Is something wrong?
It's Blackthorn. He ain't himself. And if I'm honest, he ain't been for a while. Yet normally it only takes a couple of drinks to perk him back up, but not this time. Something's getting him down. And whatever it is, he ain't telling. It's like he's lost his spark, you know? He's barely got enough fire in his belly to get the ump about stuff. But I'm thinking he might if we both bent his ear, because he respects you, innit? So, what do you say?
Fine. If you think it will help.
I knew you'd understand.
But if he doesn't want to talk, we let him be. He'll open up when he's ready.
All right. Now, he'll only smell a rat if we both turn up at once. So, I'll go first, and you can meet us at the forge. Wait a bit, then head over when you're ready.
Oh, I wasn't expecting you back so soon. Your benefactors are a generous lot.
Pillow Talk. Such is the renown of Sid the Outlaw that much of my clientele would rather spend their time prattling on about your endeavors than making any endeavors of their own. For that, I feel I owe you at least a portion of my earnings. A particularly enamored sort left this on the nightstand. May it serve you better than it did him. The Berserker's Ring.
Here you are.
Okay, what does
Come
that do?
again. I may have more for you.
The Berserkers of Southern Ash, known for their fearlessness on the field of battle, were known to wear their rings not only on their fingers, but pierced all over their bodies from head to toe. Scholars now believe the unnatural courage they displayed was a result of extended exposure to the concentrated ether imbued in the jewelry that poisoned the blood of its non-bearer wearers and induced madness that ultimately became associated with the battle frenzy. Temporarily increases attack proficiency with each precision dodge. Interesting. Temporarily increases attack proficiency with each precision dodge. Huh. Okay, something to think about, I suppose. I can give it a try. Rock it for a little bit. See where we're at on abilities. This is upgrade aerial blast. We need almost have enough for judgment bolt. Okay.
How did we never hear about these guardians?
Back again, Lord Rosfield. I'm touched that you should find me such good company.
It is not your company, but your counsel that I seek on this occasion.
Ever the charmer. What will it be today, then?
The Iron Kingdom. I need to know what to expect.
You'll soon be setting sail for Drake's Breath, then, I take it. The mother crystal that rises from the boiling sea. There was a time when a true-blooded Rosarian had only to brave the waves to visit it. But then the Ironblood made their move. As you know, the Iron Kingdom rules over the islands to the west of Storm. Or rather, its church does. But this is not the pragmatic approach to state religion employed by the Holy Empire to manipulate the masses. No, the Iron Kingdom is the literal embodiment of the crystalline orthodoxy. And so, if one is to understand it, one must start there. As the name implies, the orthodoxy holds the Mother Crystals sacred, and they do not take kindly to heathens plundering the objects of their worship for the means to fill washtubs and light lamps with frivolous feats of magic. Indeed, the faithful consider ether a sinful thing, a poison no less. And to them, a dominant is an instrument of evil, albeit one they have proven only too happy to turn against their enemies. Some 80 years ago in Northern Storm, Drake's eye collapsed. Soon after, in pursuit of ether and with the Blight at their backs, the Northern Territories descended upon the Grand Duchy of Rosaria. And when the Shields of the Flame marched north to meet them, the Iron Kingdom spied an opportunity. A few short days later, the Crusaders landed on the island of Mount Justanus, home of Drake's Breath, and plucked it from the Duchy's grasp. Rosaria tried to reclaim it, of course, but to no avail. I doubt more than a handful of Duchy men have set foot on its shores in your lifetime. Nor are they like to again, under the Empire's stewardship, meaning the Iron Blood will keep their island, and with it, the foothold they need to march on mainland soil when next they spy an opportunity. The Mother Crystal is both the object of the Iron Blood's worship and their gateway to the continent, making Drustinus the holiest of holy grounds, from which the Orthodox Crusade shall one day sail forth to claim the remaining Mother Crystals, or die trying.
My father and my grandfather both traded blows with the Iron Blood for control of Drake's Breath. Had things unfolded differently at Phoenix Gate, we would have sent our entire fleet against them.
But instead, they sent their fleet against Rosaria, sacked the capital, killed the men, and captured the women, including Jill. I'd say you'd be forgiven for wanting a little revenge, Clive.
My only aim is to destroy the Mother Crystal. But thank you all the same. Not much else to do here. Let's see if Jill's ready.
And how may I assist you today? How may I help you today? Of course.
The Guardians of the Flame. Rosarians driven from their homes by the Blight or the Black Shields gather at the gates of Port Isolde, seeking shelter and succor, but neither are forthcoming. Just a short walk away in the Lazars district, however, Sir Wade and his band of guardians make plans to put an end to the Imperial's outrages.
Study it well, Clive.
Rosaria is rising, while the forces of Dalmekia bear their fangs at the Empire in the far eastern reaches of Storm. In the far west, the Empire's enemies bear steel instead, With a little help from some old friends, the Guardians of the Flame rout the Black Shield's main host, putting an end to the cullings that had lately racked the province. Following Clive to Justinus, Clive helped Sir Wade and his guardians to break the Black Shields, and they returned the favor by showing him to the secret tunnels that lead to Port Isolde and the mansion of his uncle Byron. After being convinced that Clive is who he claims, Byron lends his nephew a ship that he and Jill might sail for Drastanis.
The state of the realm is ever-changing, Clive.
Typical nobles.
That monster's taken quite a liking to Lady Karen.
He's not a monster. He's
First August, and now you. What are you pair up to? What's it got to do with me?
August was worried that something had been weighing on your mind. I thought you might want to talk about it.
Did you now? I told you not to stick your nose in my business. What'd you go and do?
Clive just wants to help, innit? What's so bad about that? Talk to him. You never know, you might feel better for getting it all out in the open. Please, mate. I'm worried about you.
Phil shut you up. It's nothing really. Stupid. Not the sort of thing you bother people about.
Why don't you tell us all the same?
Karen and I have an arrangement. I keep an eye on Goots, and she shows me what the competition's up to. Interesting arms and armor, things like that. Anyway, the other day, she shows me a cuirass she's come by. Masterpiece of level work. Light, supple, and tougher than it had any right to be. Made my stuff look like every clumsy shit. I should have brought the bastard thing there and then just to study it, but I was too proud. And now every time I reach for my hammer, I'm reminded that I'm not the craftsman I thought I was. There. You happy? You got what you came for. Now piss off.
All right. We're going. I always thought of old Blackthorn as a bit of a force of nature. Like a storm cloud full of ale. Didn't think anything could rattle him. Least of all a stupid piece of leather.
Blackthorn's always taken pride in his craft. Questioning it means questioning himself. Something tells me this is only going to get worse. If he has doubts, it will affect his work, which will only add to his problems. We need to nip this in the bud.
I couldn't agree more.
He said he should have bought that cuirass. Perhaps we should track it down for him. Assuming you're happy to help, that is.
Too bloody right I am.
Glad to hear it. First things first, then. We need to speak to Karen.
So, we find a cuirass, give it to Blackthorn, then he works out how to make it and goes back to being his surly old self, right? Simple.
That monster's taken quite a liking to Lady Karen.
He's not a monster.
Karen, do you have a moment? Blackthorn mentioned that you'd recently come by a leather cuirass. An exquisite example of the craft, from what he told us.
And he ain't been himself since he saw it. So we thought we'd buy it for him.
Sorry, sold it already. Didn't think Blackthorn cared for it the way he turned his nose up. But it was nicely put together, that's for certain. Even if the bloke who made it is a bit of an odd one. Happened across him on my travels. Makes all his stuff to order, but the fella who commissioned it refused to pay. He didn't like the colour of summit. So I took it off his hands for a fair price.
You don't know where we might find him, do you?
Like I said, He's a bit of an odd one. Doesn't even have a workshop. He don't trust hunters neither, which means he spends as much time out tracking beasties as he does working their hides.
I see.
He did tell me something, though. Apparently, his next commission's for a set of griffin hide greaves.
Here, there's a griffin on the hunt board. The curse breakers were placing bets on who'd bag it. Now, where the bleeding hell was it sighted? Somewhere in Sambrec, maybe? Care Northern, that was it.
Thank you, Karen. We'd be lost without you.
At least you admit it.
So, it sounds like going after that griffin might be the best chance we have of finding our roaming leatherworker.
I'll leave the hunting to you if you don't mind. While you get on with that, I'll ask around the markets. See if I can't sniff out who he is and where he's hiding.
Good idea. Hopefully one of us will be able to track him down.
Typical nobles.
Hey, Nectar. Have you heard about a griffin? Did I hear you say you were hoping to hunt down a griffin, Kupo? Then do I have the billet for you, Kupo? An especially horrible one that locals call Dos Mare. How you say it? Dos Mare? Dos Mare? While passing along the trail from Lostwing to Cair Norvent, one of our order was met with a sudden blast of wind so strong that it bent back the trunks of the old oaks, and heard a cry so terrible that he ran for his life. Questioning the locals revealed that this area was the nesting place of the elder griffin known as Dozmare, a beast much hated for its appetite, both for chocobos and for children. That's horrible. Cair Norvent West Gate in Sandbrek. It's not real clear, like, where is Westgate? It's in here somewhere, maybe. Kind of got to zoom in to see all of the titles. See if there's anything around here that says Westgate. West Watch? Maybe that was it. Let's double check. Was it West Watch? No, it says Westgate. Cair Norvent Westgate in Sandbrek.
Good girl.
It's crazy. I see all these gates, but I don't see West Gate. Cellar passage.
And what can I do for you? I'll be here if you need me.
Good day to you.
Any friend of the innkeeper is a friend of mine. You're always welcome here in Lostwing.
Ready, girl? Fly, Ambrosia.
Griffins don't exactly make for easy prey. Let's hope our craftsman hasn't bitten off more than he can chew.
Be safe.
There it is. Dozmare. He's only a B rank. We can do it.
Another work will have to wait.
Vogel, look sharp.
This one.
Victorious mark slain. Scarletite, one of the hardest metals known to man. Scarletite is highly sought after by those with the means to pay its exorbitant asking price. A price determined not only by its rarity but rather due to the fact that a forge must employ no fewer than 5 healthy bearers to produce flames hot enough to melt the ore, at which time it takes upon the deep scarlet hue from which its name is taken.
Is something there, boy? Could that be our man? Are you all right?
Dare say I'll survive. That griffin caught me before I could get an arrow off. Must have lost sight of me in the grass, though. I'd be dead if it hadn't.
More likely than not.
The name's Camille. I'm a lowly leather worker, if you couldn't tell by the smell of me.
Not so lowly from what I hear. Do you remember selling to a merchant by the name of Karen?
She's not an easy woman to forget. Bought a cuirass from me after I lost my buyer. Quite taken with my work, as far as I recall. Didn't stop her bartering me down to a pittance, though. She sent you for a refund?
It's not her who sent me.
Well, consider me flattered.
You should be. He's a master of his art, and not an easy man to impress.
Blacksmiths are proud folk. It's a rare thing indeed for one to praise a glorified tanner. And I don't imagine an impressive swordsman like yourself would be getting your steel from any but the best. I'd dearly love to help a fellow craftsman, but... Well, actually, I suppose you could give him this.
What is it?
Treated leather. Same stuff I used to make that cuirass. If your man's as skilled as he sounds, he'll know what he's looking at.
You sure?
Well, you did save my life. And thanks to you, I'll be going home with all the griffin hide I can carry. I'd say it's the least I can do. Short of showing him how to make the thing myself, that is. But there are rules against it. Secrets of the trade and whatnot.
In that case, I'll see that he gets it.
I'd be much obliged if you would. Right. I've got some greaves to make. You send your blacksmith my regards.
Will do. And thank you. Hopefully this will sweeten Blackthorn's mood.
Alright, but before we head back to the hideaway, we have that other side quest that we need to attend to at Martha's Rest.
Thank you for sticking with us.
Those of us who are still here have to look after each other, don't we? So, about the price of them turnips.
Ah, welcome. Times may be hard, but if you got the gill, I got the goods. What can I do you for?
Unwanted violets, if you have them. Though I'd gladly settle for learning what they are if you don't.
Why, I haven't heard folk call them that since I was a lad. You're looking for scorpion tails. Unwanted violets is what folk used to call them back in the day. They turn a wicked purple when you boil them up, hence the name. Used to chuck them in the pot when there weren't nothing else on offer, and there was a war on, that sort of thing. Thankfully, Times aren't yet as hard as that. And even if they were, you wouldn't find anyone selling them these days.
Do the scorpions still live nearby?
I dare say they do. 3 reeds would be your best bet, if memory serves.
Thank you. You've been most helpful.
Stay sharp.
After what the Empire did to Martha's lot, I'd be daft to stay.
We do know one thing.
Carries on like this, I
We'll be
won't have
getting
any
a proper
bearers left.
Rosarian welcome.
I understand. May the blessing go with you.
Don't you go causing any trouble now.
Ready, go?
Scorpions. At least I know what I'm up against. It's over. Get him. Stay down.
Unwanted violet. The tails of certain species of scorpion are prized as a delicacy, the trace amounts of poison remaining in their flesh leading them a certain piquance. Piquancy? I don't know. The common marsh scorpion, however, not only lacks a stinger, but subsists on a diet of mudworms and bog moss, lending its flesh an altogether more troubling tang. No, thank you.
I better get this back to Yvonne before it goes bad. Or any worse, at least. I needed that.
Did you find our mystery ingredient?
I did indeed.
Marvellous! Let's see. What am I supposed to do with this? It's poisonous, surely.
You wouldn't be wrong. But that's your unwanted violet.
Into the pot it goes, I suppose. Wait here. I won't be long. I
No,
present
dude.
Chance's Stew, risen
No.
once again from the ashes of obscurity. Grab a spoon,
Blech.
Sid. Let's eat while it's hot.
I'm not hungry.
You go ahead.
Well, it'll be too late once I've licked the bowl clean. Your loss. Odin's teeth. What an assault on the senses. It's like choking on swamp water. And yet, up through the pungency, there rise complex, meaty notes.
No, dude.
It takes a moment to recover from such an onslaught of flavours, but never have I tasted anything so fine.
What?
Thank you, Sid. Thank you.
If you say so, dude.
Welcome.
I must share this gift. I won't rest until a steaming bowl of Chance's stew sits before everyone in the hideaway.
It looks like a steaming pile, alright.
Molly will be breeding scorpions of her own.
I'm sure she will.
Nah. Quest completed. A culinary pilgrimage. Got the badge of metal. The strength of a city is defined by the guard that mans its walls. The strength of a city guard is defined by the pride in their hearts and the laurels on their breasts. This badge provides its wearer with one of the two. Increases defense by 30.
That monster's taken quite a liking to Lady Karen.
And with a bit of luck, Clive might even find the geezer.
Bloody busybodies, the both of you.
How'd it go, Clive? Did you find him, or does the hunt continue?
I found him. And he asked me to give you this, along with his regards.
Treated leather, a sample of supple hide dressed to the artisan Camille's exact standards. It has nary a trace of the barnyard musk of lesser leathers, instead smelling faintly of rosehips. Rosehips? Whatever that is.
You're joking.
He said he wouldn't teach you how to work it, but that if you were as skilled as you sounded, you'd have no trouble understanding how it was done.
So that's his secret. Crafty bastard. He's layered and cross-grained it. Good few times, too. No wonder it's tough. And that's no ordinary oil he's used to get that finish. Oh, this is fine work. Even finer than I thought.
Yeah? I'll take your word for it. Just looks like leather to me. Still, I'm glad you're happy. Here, Clive. You didn't happen to catch the fella's name, did you?
Camille, I believe.
I thought as much. There ain't many leather workers in the realm daft enough to do their own hunting, see, and his name kept cropping up when I was asking around. Turns out he's from Tabor, and again most leather workers are. But our friend Camille guards a long-held family secret, the details of which are the subject of some debate in the leather-working community.
Then we better keep this close to our chests.
Listen, sorry for putting the both of you to all that trouble. Should have kept my moaning to myself. Still, I'm glad you found him. This has cheered me right up.
That was the idea. Clive's idea, anyway. He did most of the work.
It's good to have you back, Blackthorn.
Just don't expect me to go turning out work like this. There's a reason he does his own hunting. He knows exactly what hides to look for. And that's how he gets them to layer up so nicely. And don't get me started on how much oiling this leather would need. But I reckon I can make something about as good. Something a curse breaker will have no trouble caring for. Anyway, enough narrowing. I've got work to be getting on with.
Looks like we won't be needing a new blacksmith.
As if there was a better one out there. I wouldn't have been the same anyway. No one spins a yarn like old Blackthorn in his cups. Right, now that's sorted, I've got duties to attend to. Thanks, Clive. You've given me my mate back.
Anybody in their cups out there? If so, drink one for me. Blacksmith's Blues. Drake Slayer's Belt Design Draft. A diagram detailing the steps to craft a belt fit for a hero. The Drake Slayer's Belt. Design drafts. You have obtained the design draft for the Drake Slayer's belt. Design drafts unlock new crafting options at Black Hammers. Visit Blackthorn at the Hideaway on details on material requirements.
Clive? What's that for you, dear?
What about this Drake Slayer's belt? We need an Electrum and 2 more Briar clamshells. Could also make bracelets.
And?
Deadlands wouldn't be half as bad without all the bloody dust.
All quiet in the Dominion. The Dalmex and the Imperials are off to a standoff. They snarl at each other, fangs bared like slum curs. But neither wants to make the first move. It's almost as if they both realized what a stinking pile of chocobo shit they've stepped in. If I were a man to lay wager, I'd put my copper on this conflict not playing out anytime soon. I'll keep you appraised, Gav. A flame from none brighter. My Lord Marquis, I ask once again for you to forgive my men for your welcome back at the Lazarus, but certainly you can understand that you were the last person any of us expected to see at our gates. In the short time since our reunion, you have shown yourselves to be the selfsame man I followed into the still wind those many years ago, a true bearer of your father's legacy. If only Sir Tyler, the Lord Commander, and all the others who were lost that night were still with us to see how bright your flame now burns. To you and your cause I hereby pledge the swords of the Guardians, and am proud to stand alongside you once again. Sir Wade. An apple a day. Lad from the yard ran up a basket of martels just this morning, sweet as honey and crisp as the morning breeze they were. I told myself I was only going to have one, but I reckon if no one else listens to old Otto, I don't have to either. You let Nigel and his lot know that they've done a fine job. Was the time you'd catch none but Sids supping on these, what for their foul bite, but for him it were never about the flavor, but about what they represented, our ability to make it on our own. And look at us now. Sid would be proud. Otto. The Martell apples, a somewhat stunted, somewhat sweet apple grown from the blighted earth, thanks to the dedication and perseverance of one woman, Martell. And Ambrosia's tack, a saddle and blinders crafted specifically for Clive's childhood chocobo, Ambrosia. Even after being separated from her master, the noble steed served the people of Rosaria in his stead, protecting the defenseless from the merciless, just as a good shield should. Alright. Alright, guys, I think it's about that time once again. Before we sign off, though, let's go talk to Tomes. Get updated on our lore. That way, next time when we come back, it'll be off to the next mission. Hello, Hippocrates.
My knowledge is yours. I have a few new notes that might interest you.
Oh, really?
If you have a question for me, I should be happy to answer it.
Byron Rossfield, younger brother of the late Archduke Elwyn and warden of Port Isolde. After the duchy was incorporated into the empire and Byron stripped of his titles, he shut himself away in his manor and gladly volunteered every gill of the onerous taxes and tariffs with which he was newly burdened, all to avoid drawing the empire's ire and to keep their attentions from his support for the Guardians of the Flame. Port Isolde, a port city situated on the southwestern coast of the imperial province of Rosaria. Only Rosalith rivals it for size, and in the glory days of Archduke Elwyn's reign, its streets bustled with traders from across Valisthea. Sadly, those days are long since gone, and Sanbrecht's occupation has seen everything, from marketplaces to military institutions, subverted to the will of the Empire. Joshua Rossfeld, dominant of the Phoenix and former heir to the ducal throne. Joshua was thought to have died at the hands of the second Icon of Fire during the disaster at Phoenix Gate. However, he somehow survived. Appearing before his brother once more some 13 years later in the inner sanctum at Drake's Head, and saving Clive from Ultima's advances by calling upon the power of the Phoenix to seal the being within himself. Ambrosia, Clive's personal steed. After losing her master at Phoenix Gate, Ambrosia found a new flock and led them in defending honest merchants from beasts and bandits, earning herself the love of the locals in the name Whiteheart. Indeed, it was one local's insistence that she be defended in turn that led her to her happy reunion with Clive. Nectar, the Hideaway's resident Moogle, whom Cid found trapped between fallen ruins and brought back to his deadland home. While all others hear its words is naught but a succession of adorable Kupo-like cries, Clive is somehow able to make sense of them, learning that the creature professes to be a mighty hero who would see the terrible fiends that plague the realm laid low, for which purpose it persists in drawing Clive's attention to the hunt board. And we'll get to the rest of those hunts next time. Gav, Cid's faithful scout, now one of Clive's closest and most trusted allies, he continues to put his legendary nose to work in the service of the Hideaway, the information he brings back from the expeditions proving invaluable for the Cursebreakers in their efforts to save bearers from servitude. Though he has lost an eye during Hugo Kupka's attacks on the old Hideaway, his scouting senses remain undimmed. Tarja, resident physiker of Clive's Hideaway and trusted ally of the cause. Branded as a bearer from birth and forced to serve as a battlefield healer, Tarja put her surgical training to use in removing her own brand, a procedure she has since perfected and offers to any other escaped slaves. Desiree, scribe and secretary for the Hideaway. Desiree is also entrusted with the keeping of all donations to the cause from Clive's allies and patrons. Though she could neither read nor write when she first came to the Hideaway, Desiree labored night and day to learn her letters, and now the quill is never far from hand. Her ever-cheerful demeanor is a bright light to those who make their homes atop the blackened mere. Cole, this is who the one girl was talking about. Second in command of the Cursebreakers, who assists with the coordination of their troops' bear liberating activities under the supervision of his captain, Doris, formerly a slave soldier for the Fist of the Republic before being freed and taken in by those he now calls his brothers and sisters in arms. August, a veteran Cursebreaker who often leads his own team on bear liberating forays. He also shares his wisdom and experience with Cole in assembling new units and training new recruits. one of Blackthorn's few close friends who shares the smithy's fondness for a tankard or two indeed. When August isn't on a mission, he can most often be found supping on ale and swapping a story in the Hideaway's taverns. Martel, a young bear who assisted Balmill in research into growing crops in the blighted soil of Sid's Hideaway. Alas, she was gravely wounded during Kupka's attack on their home. Though she was able to escape the wreckage with some of the saplings that were the fruit of their labors, she succumbed soon after. The trees were replanted in Clive's new hideaway, and the apples they bore named Martel in her memory. Ivan. A freed Imperial bearer, after the wounds he suffered in his escape were healed, he began a new life in the hideaway, working in the kitchens. Through this, he encountered a cookbook entitled Valisthea, a culinary pilgrimage, which inspired in him a passion for making mincemeat of monsters. Literally. Attendant to Joshua, companion and protector of Joshua Rosfeld, dominant of the Phoenix. As loyal as she is dangerous, her blade is ever at the ready for any who might mean her master ill, and her tonics ever at hand to heal the sickly prince's hurts. Joshua addresses her by name Yote, but it is unclear whether this is her true name or another's pseudonym. Sir Wade, a loyal shield of Rosaria. Though he was thought to have died during the attack on Phoenix Gate, he somehow survived not only the disaster, but the Imperial conquest that followed. He and others like-minded shields took up residence in the abandoned Lazarus and formed the Guardians of the Flame, brothers in arms who fought for the restoration of the duchy. Rutherford, manservant to Lord Byron Rosfeld. His daily duties touch all aspects of running his master's manor, whether that be the welcoming of guests, the preparation of meals, or the polishing of the intrepid nobleman's trophy collection. I was polishing something. Sorry. Lay of the land. The Cursebreakers, a unit drawn from those of fighting age and martial training among the residents of the Hideaway, who conduct operations to liberate bears from slavery, beginning as a loose collection of like-minded individuals in Sid's Hideaway, who chose to rid themselves of the bearer's brand that they might serve the cause out in the field. The order has greatly expanded both its ranks and its operations since the move to Benamir, all under Otto's watchful eye. Guardians of the Flame, a clandestine group of ducal loyalists who led the rebellion against the imperial occupation of Rosaria and Empress Annabella. Many of their number are drawn from those who survived the imperial attack on Phoenix Gate in the year 860, who know full well the empire's involvement in the duchy's fall. They make their home in the abandoned Lazarus district outside Port Isolde, from where they conduct their raids to free bearers from their imperial yoke. The 7 High Houses, the highest noble houses of all of old Rosaria, of which House Rosfeld is the first and foremost. They have their roots in the ruling dynasties of the small independent nations that were united upon the founding of the duchy. The houses had a prominent voice in ducal politics, but this was silenced when the region fell to the empire, and Empress Annabella took Rosaria's reins. Amber, a sleepy settlement nestled amongst the lofty peaks of southern Rosaria, located far from the capital. Its people survive by trading what produce they can coax from the stony soil and what little else they can gather from the surrounding hills. Aduhil Docks, a once thriving village of shipwrights located at the mouth of the Talons, Rosaria's largest bay. Its people were slaughtered at the hands of the Vice-Regency's Black Shields after it was discovered that the Guardians of the Flame were sheltering bearers there. Bewit Bridge, a bridge built in the golden days of the duchy that spans part of the bay known as the Talons and connects eastern Rosaria with the capital of Rosalith. It was originally meant to be part of the Trans-Rosarian Aqueduct that would carry water to northern areas affected by the Blight, and with it, employment for local craftsmen and tradespeople. But this plan was abandoned when Archduke Elwin died. The Lazarus District, an exclusive walled residential area situated just outside the eastern edge of Port Solde. It was once the jewel in the city's crown and home to many of the nobles of the duchy. However, after the Empire moved its capital to the Crystalline Dominion, Port Solde was all but abandoned, and this once grand district was soon overrun with thieves and cutthroats. Hawk's Cry Cliff, a location in the southern part of the imperial province of Rosaria, known for its distinct rock formations. There are myriad theories as to how the unique stratification was achieved, from natural shiftings of Earth to clashes of bygone icons to lost fallen magics. The people who live in their shadows, however, such as those residents of the tiny village of Amber, will merely tell you a rock is a rock. The Black Shields, an order of knights instituted by Empress Annabella in one of her first acts as vicereine of the imperial province of Rosaria. While they most often march in small groups, their main host has been known to rally together to conduct large-scale raids. They are tasked with purging the impurities from the province, to which end they conduct cullings of both bearers and those judged to be ducal loyalists. The Vice-Regency. The imperial province incorporating the lands that were once Rosaria, ruled over by Annabella, former Duchess of Rosaria. One of her first acts as vicereine was to institute a new order of knights, the Black Shields, who were dispatched to every corner of the province to maintain order. They would later come to serve as her personal army, settling her grievances against bearers and ducal loyalists. Drake's Fang, one of the Valistia's 5 remaining mother crystals, located in the Dalmekian Republic. Unlike its sisters who just jut from the earth to tower above the landscape, Drake's Fang is completely enclosed within the vast hollow of an ageless mountain, its cistrine fingers reaching inward towards the barrow's heart. Excavating of these crystals has, over centuries, showered the Dalmex with substantial fortune, and as such is seen as a symbol of the nation's prosperity. Drake's Spine, a mother crystal situated in Stonehur, capital of the Kingdom of Waylude. Its sheer walls strikingly similar to the towering cliffs that line the coast of Ash. The interior can only be gained by means of a solitary stone span that stretches from the heart of the city proper. Being the last remaining mother crystal on Ash, the crystals harvested from its surface are a vital lifeline for the Wayluder people, but even then their number is far from enough to sate the kingdom's appetite, thus forcing her king to seek sources elsewhere. Drake's Tail, a mother crystal located in the Crystalline Dominion. It is one of only 5 remaining in Valistia and is the largest of its kind. Silhouetted by the setting sun, the islands of the Dominion spread out before it, the tail is truly a wonder to behold. The Crystalline Impasse, a conflict fought between the Holy Empire of Sanbreque and the Republic of the Dalmekians in the year of 878, largely concerning control over the Crystalline Dominion. The Dominion had previously been the subject of a non-aggression pact between the Valistian nations, but in 873 the Empire claimed Twinside for its new capital, an act which eventually spurred the Dalmex into military action. The Northern Territories, a bitterly cold corner of Storm's most northern reaches, the loose collection of nations that sprang up around the region's erstwhile mother crystal, Drake's Eye, were united and pacified by Archduke Elwin Rosfield of Rosaria in the year 854. However, in the years following Rosaria's annexation by the Empire, a combination of both the Blight's inexorable advance and Sanbreque's lack of interest in the territories has only worked to quicken the area's destabilization. mysteries of the realm. The Cullings. After being made vicereine of the newly annexed Rosarian territory, the Empress Annabella quietly established a host of loyal Imperial soldiers, the Black Shields, to maintain order. Though branded as keepers of the peace, their true purpose is to carry out what has come to be known as the Cullings, a brutal massacre of provincial bearers and those who show them sympathy. The killing is swift and indiscriminate, with the shields dispatched serving as judge, jury, and executioner, and the chaos left in their wake is usually enough to deliver entire settlements to ruin. Missives. The second simplest method of long-distance communication used in Valisthea, after whispering one's message to a traveling trader and trusting it in the strength of their memories. Though letters are more prone to interception than stoluses, they have the advantage that they can be sent to those who do not know. Their major disadvantage, that the majority of the common folk of the twins can neither read nor write, limiting their exchange to those of a certain level of education. Efforts are underway to offer such an education to the bearers of the hideaway, and many are already more confident readers and writers than their former masters. That's good. Notorious marks. While afield on their expeditionary excursions, the Cursebreakers will often learn of creatures, or somewhat unsurprisingly humans, that for reasons varying from the loss of natural habitat or a lack of food to exposure to ether, have begun to exhibit uncharacteristically violent behavior. Due to the threat they pose to the realm and her peaceful inhabitants, these terrors are deemed notorious marks and a bounty placed on their heads. The Saint and the Secretary. A beloved Valestian fable wherein the good knight Sir Crandall of Camelot, servant of Saint Sybil the Unshod, does battle against the evil warlock Maudu. The story was a favorite of the young Clive Rossfield, and he would often act out scenes with his uncle, the young knight naturally taking the role of Sir Crandall, and his rumbustious Uncle Byron making a convincing Maudu. The Bestiary. Griffins. Fantastical abominations of nature, upon which the crown and wings of an eagle have been fused to the legs and loins of a ferocious land cat. They hunt their prey on high, circling a victim unseen before descending at a terrible speed, claws first, to tear its throat. Should the prey prove more formidable, griffins have also been known to call upon the very winds to both slice and suffocate the quarry. Fortunately, these predators rarely descend from their mountain lairs, and sightings are far and few between. The Aramon. With their single unblinking eye, these winged horrors ever scan the horizon, seeking their next victims, using their singular ability to bend the very air around themselves and leap across great distances to take prey unawares. Those few who manage to survive these preliminary assaults, however, are soon faced with a second horror, a crippling curse, whispered from the lips of an abyssal maw, leaving them with but moments to lament their fates. Ooh, he's a nasty looking bugger. But we took them all down, and we will yet again.
You are always welcome, Clive.
And that is the lore, yet again, guys. And with that, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. Thanks again for watching, everyone. And until next time, take care. We'll pick up here next time with Jill. Until then.